we are looking at the adjective paradigm of ἁμαρτωλός, and we're looking at how to create a mnemonic system in order to memorize this paradigm. So first, we're going to pick a location. I'm picking what I call restaurant 1. This is the first restaurant on my trip from my office to my house. And in that restaurant, number 1, I'm going to see a ham, a big, nice canned ham, because ham is going to remind me of ἁμαρτωλός, and ham is absolutely sinful. If you think it's haram, it's sinful for Muslims, or maybe it's just sinful because it's bad for you. But the ham is going to be there in that restaurant to remind me of what paradigm I am memorizing. And we need these locations so that our paradigms don't get mixed up. So all the images you create here on out are going to be located in that paradigm next to the ham. I've already created images for the left side of the chart, the nominative singular, genitive singular. So if you've watched previous videos, you'll already know those. I'll say them verbally as I create this one. So for nominative singular, we've got Norm Macdonald and Beyonce. And for the os ending, I've got Ozzy Osbourne. And for the on ending, I've got an on button. So I see Ozzy Osbourne there hitting the on button on his tower computer in that restaurant with a canned ham. Genitive singular, I've got Jennifer Lawrence with Beyonce, and they're standing in a bunch of poo in that restaurant next to a canned ham. Poo is going to remind me of the oo ending, which is the same for masculine, feminine, and neuter. I'm not creating images for masculine, feminine, neuter in this paradigm. I'm just going to remember them by sequence. But if that's confusing for you, if you feel like you need them, there's sort of a trade-off. Either you create more mental images, more characters to include in your paradigm, and then you have more images to remember, but each of them are distinct, or you leave them out and it's going to be fewer images to memorize, but you're going to have to remember the sequence by rote or by feel. Whichever one you're comfortable will work for you. I think you can do it without these extra genders. But if you want to memorize the gender, you can just include Arnold Schwarzenegger for masculine, Barbie for feminine, and Bob Barker for neuter, since he always says have your pet spayed or neuter. Let's get to dative singular. Dative singular is going to be a giant date with Beyonce. And for the O ending, I've got Oprah. If you want to imagine a submarine there for the dative subscript, you can. But since it's dative, you've already got it tied to the dative, you should be able to figure that out. For the accusative singular, I've got an accusing lawyer with Beyonce. For the on ending, I've got an on button. I like the one that looks like an O on those tower computers that they have sometimes. You can picture 2 if you want, or just 1 to remind, because if you see just 1, you should be able to figure out, oh, that's the same for all of them. Nominative plural is Norm Macdonald with Pluto the Disney dog. For oi, I've got oil. And for I like to use the dentist. Now for this, instead of creating another character or a person saying I'm just going to turn the barrel of oil into a cartoon barrel of oil. He's got eyes, he's got a mouth, and he's saying at the dentist. I can even imagine that barrel of oil in the dentist chair in my restaurant next to the ham and Norm Macdonald with Pluto the Disney dog. For genitive plural, I've got Jennifer Lawrence with Pluto the Disney dog. For own, I've got a toner cartridge. And so Jennifer Lawrence is there with Pluto. They've got a toner cartridge, and they're in that restaurant next to a canned ham. Dative plural, we've got a date with Pluto the Disney dog. For ois, I've got toys. So I picked some toys that my son likes to play with, and they're there in that restaurant. For accusative plural, I've got an accusing lawyer and Pluto. For the oos ending, I've got a goose, and that goose is saying at the dentist in the dentist chair in that restaurant next to the ham. Hope that's helpful. You will still need to do reps on this, maybe 20, and then write it out. You should be able to work through the images forward or backwards. So let's say you see ἁμαρτωλός. You're like, you know this is the paradigm for ἁμαρτωλός. So you're thinking, okay, I'm in my restaurant 1 with my canned ham, and ois, I see toys there, which that means it's there with a giant date. And Pluto the Disney dog, that means it's got to be dative plural. Or if you see ἁμαρτωλά, you can say okay, somebody saying at the dentist, that could be a goose or that could be oil in that restaurant next to the canned ham. So that means it's got to be nominative plural or accusative plural. Some paradigm charts will put those together for you. But either way, you can figure it out forwards or backwards if the paradigm is empty or if you're parsing a word.